Hi, fellow NRIs and OCI card holders. I recently went through this process of applying for OCI card, reissuing the OCI card because I got new US passport. And it was quite an ordeal going through it, but since I did three of them for me, for my wife and my daughter recently, I'm fairly comfortable I was, and I got my card back. So I thought I'd make a quick slideshow to cover the high-level items to give you an idea. The details there, a lot of documentation is there online. Just wanted to cover the high-level view so that you're not overwhelmed. So here we go. I'll go through the steps here. So if you look at the rules, the category that I fall under is this red highlighted number 2, which is I'm over 50 years old and I got a US passport recently, new passport. Passport was, so I needed to get my OCI reissued. We also did for my daughter, which was in number 1, whereby she never got the OCI renewed before she crossed the age of 20. Now that she's over 20, we figured we should do that so that she should be good for next couple of decades. Okay, I'll just go through the steps themselves. Before you start the process, make sure to collect all of these documents and have them handy. The current OCI card itself, there is a front page where you have the photo and all that, but there is a back page where there are some file reference numbers and issue dates and so on. That is important. That is something that I did not know till I started this process. You need both of those. In the driver's license, current US passport, your US citizenship certificate, photos, and there is a signature, JPEG of your signature is needed. I'll explain in the upcoming slides. At a very high level, you start off in the CKGS, the Cox and Kings website, and use just a couple of clicks, one to select the state you are from, and also another button that says OCI reissue for new passport. And then it gives you the rest of the steps needed. It starts off with step 7, by the way. Don't worry, that is the correct one because the earlier steps are for new OCI card application only. Then you move to the website mentioned here at the top. That's the government website where you will upload the photo and the signature, and you fill in couple of forms, fairly straightforward, nothing big about these, what's being asked in these forms. Just a couple of things to note. One is they do ask for that OCI card, your current OCI card, file number and issue date. Actually, it says the date you filed for the OCI card, which doesn't make any sense, but issue date that is there in your OCI card is sufficient. These numbers, as I mentioned, are at the back of your current OCI card, the blue passport-like card. So you have to enter these details for all of your family members. So if there are 4 of you, you have to enter these for all 4 of you. And then another point to mention is that there is some place where they ask about your family members in India. So like their name and age, address for sure. Just pick your 2 closest relatives. That should be sufficient. So at the end of this step, you will get a web reference number. Make a note of this number. Then move back to the CKGS site. So this Cox and Kings site is basically taking all this information and giving you things that you need to print and put them in a FedEx package and send back. Those kind of logistics it handles. So that's that that is this in this box number 3 that I mentioned. So you'll start off with the web reference number that was generated in the government site. And then once you go through answering all the questions and filling the form, at the end of it, you will get a completed application form which will have your photo and signature that you uploaded to the government site. You will also get a document called the affidavit in lieu of originals. It's just a couple of pages. Basically, you'll have to get this notarized, and all it is saying is that, hey, since I'm not sending in the US passport original and driver's license original and so on, please treat these as true originals. And so you're just certifying that in front of a notary. And a checklist is printed. You'll go through and check off a few items. There's only few items that are applicable to you. Most of the items are not applicable, like a driver's license and OCI card and so on. A few things are applicable. You have to check those. And then a shipping label, a FedEx shipping label, which is what I use. FedEx shipping label will be printed. In addition, there will be another barcode that will be printed. This is to help CKGS with the tracking. So you stick that right below the address label. Stick that whole thing into the sleeve on a FedEx envelope. Okay, I cover some more details here. So this is pretty straightforward. I already mentioned what happens this is how when you start off at the CKGS website. Not much here. Let's go to the second one. I'm just giving you some ideas about what I did for the photo. If you already have photos, passport size photos, and JPEG of that, then don't worry about this. I just found some of these helpful. Like for example, the photo cropper tool that I got from US passport websites. That's a state government, US State Department one. That's a very helpful one with all the dimensions of the face and all that. That was helpful for trimming the photo. And then I made a hard copy of the same and printed. So now I have a bunch of passport size photos. For the signature, you just need to sign. I mentioned a rectangular box here. You don't actually have to draw a box. An imaginary box is good enough. Just sign something, take a photo of it, and trim it. Okay, so this is what was used when you go to the government website. You have to upload these two. Finally, when everything is said and done on the CKGS website, there are a bunch of things you have to hard copy, put into an envelope, and ship via FedEx. I have a list of all the things that I had shipped. There's a checklist that you check off and include the checklist in the package. The OCI application form, which automatically comes with your photo and signature all filled in. In the back, you do have to sign it. Attach 2 hard copy photos, copy of the driver's license, copies of the passport pages, original OCI card, the blue passport like OCI card, as well as a copy of a couple of pages of that. All of it goes back to CKGS. Affidavit, as I mentioned, that needs to be notarized. A cashier's check. You go to your bank and they'll be able to give you a cashier's check. For me, the amount was $75. It might vary depending on which consulate you're sending it to and so on. You get it payable to Cox and Kings. So put all of these, stick them into the FedEx envelope, send it off. And from that point onwards, it's actually tracked very well. I was impressed. You keep getting text messages, email messages of the progress of the thing. And for me, it took a total of 10 days, I believe, round trip. From the time I shipped from here, came back on FedEx. So I was, the OCI, brand new OCI card came back in FedEx that way, within 10 days or so. Very impressed with that. couple of notes here. This tripped me. In that government website Form B, there was a question about renunciation. We had not done this renunciation, and some of the websites were saying that this is mandatory. So that got me worried, and it was quite stressful to look into this. But I contacted the Pravasi Mitra website, that's with part of the U.S. consulate, or the Indian consulate, sorry. And they clarified that it was not necessary for renewals. Apparently it is necessary for new OCI applications. So on that form, I just said no for renunciation, and that's it. Nothing else is needed. I'm giving you the website of Pramit. That was very helpful. They responded fairly quickly, same day actually. And Indian consulate in New York also was very good with responses. So I left some voicemail and they called back in a day or two. Overall, very helpful team there. Finally, make sure your email addresses and cell numbers are all correct, because as I said, all of your tracking information will start coming to those as soon as you ship it via FedEx. So that's my notes here. I will put some of these links that I mentioned in the description for YouTube. And if you have questions, send me the questions. I will try to respond as soon as I can. Below in the YouTube space. Thank you very much, and good luck to you all.